Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, we have returned to League Unlock. Eric and Mark hanging out with you guys for a little bit of LEC Power Rankings Week 1. We talked about the volatility that goes on in Week 1 in North America. It's the same for the LEC, except you're maybe a little bit more confident in the top half of Europe than North America.
Look, I came away feeling a lot more confident and happy about League of Legends as a whole after watching the LEC matches than I did watching the LCS matches this week.
Faith in the West, that's what it is.
I would just leave it as that.
NA still latching on to being part of that Western scene.
Absolutely.
But 10-6 in EU, and there are some parallels between what we saw in North America, where you got 3 winless teams and 3 perfect teams in Europe. So you got that similarity going on there. It's just very different squads that are represented. But number 10 is probably familiar, or what you might expect. It is Misfits coming in with an 0-2 start to the week. This was the team that a lot of people had pegged to be towards the bottom of the standings, and they weren't terrible. They looked better than some of the spring and summer performances of last year, but they're still in at number 10.
It sucks because I'm going to take a shot here at North America, and I don't like doing that because, hey, I'm an NA homer.
I like doing that.
Hey, look, it's all for fun, but I am an NA homer at heart here. But you got to say, number 10 Misfits feels a lot better than number 10 Golden Guardians here when you're looking at this one.
Or number 8.
Yeah, but certainly, again, any way you slice it, 0-2, not getting your job done here. Performances here from Schalke, Vitality, and Misfits. Not what you wanted here to start out the season. Schalke, I'm willing to give, again, here at number 8, a little bit more leeway, given that I think that there are still more positive signs here from Schalke's organization than we have seen here, say, from Vitality or Misfits to start out the year.
And Vitality and Schalke both had opportunities to win some of the games that they played this week. Misfits never really looked like they were in control. But Schalke, yeah, there are some moments where, you know, Abadaga is going 0-5 on Rise, or Gilius is making some highly questionable plays. But some of the early game action out of Gilius, and whether it was Otawamne or Abadaga, the solo laners, they had some proactive, good-looking moments. They had early game and even mid-game leads in some of these matchups. This game against Excel, they definitely should have won. But in both of their matchups, the opposing AD carry kind of had the last say. And Forgiven actually played good in both games, or played well. We talked about that. But Patrick and Upset really just took over some of these late-game fights against Schalke.
I think that one maybe is the unfortunate part here for some of these Schalke fans, is feeling that, yes, you let one get away from your squad here in the loss to XL, one that you should have been able to close out, find a way to possibly change that result. And then again, the other one where, hey, losing here to Origen, that's not the end of the world. And losing to the way Upset performed, again, not the end of the world here for a squad where, look, I don't think you can really be saying that you're towards the very top of the LEC, but aiming for a playoff spot has got to be the goal here for Schalke. And I've seen enough signs to say, hey, they still should be in that race for that playoff spot.
Yeah, and that's, I don't want to say it's a positive 0-2, but it's definitely not we have no momentum.
It's about as positive as 0-2 can be.
Yeah, definitely more so than TSM's 0-2. SK Gaming in at number 7. They did go 1-1, but they were the least convincing or least inspiring of those 1-1 squads. Fnatic is a spot ahead of them. They looked fine against Misfits. It was a good bounce-back performance, but because of how badly they got smacked by Origen, they're still in at number 6.
Yeah, it's not exactly the way that you wanted to match up here to one of your fellow top
match
contenders.
Of the week.
Yeah, that was not the performance that Fnatic needed against Origen. You are right, better bounce-back performance, getting that one victory here for them. Still want to see more from the rest of the squad, more from, you know, adding in Selfmade to the jungle. I need to see more from that role here. And of course, keep Whippo off of the Swain. We'll be all good.
Keep anybody off of the Swain. I don't know. Season 8 is long gone, my friends. But this is 2020 we're talking. We're not taking into account any of the 2019 performances. So Fnatic outside of the top 5, but within the top 5, we've got plenty of rookie action showing up. And you saw Excel. They stole a victory from the jaws of defeat against Schalke to go 1-1, and they even had a pretty close head-to-head against Rogue, so they're in at that 5 spot, one behind Mad Lions, who had great action early on against G2, and Carzzy in particular, as well as Shadow. Both of those rookies looked really solid for them, and overall great debut for a team with 4 rookies.
This is absolutely the talent and the way that you wanted to be seeing this talent come through at the beginning of this split here for these squads. And one of the best things when you're thinking about this as an LEC fan is that, yes, you're going to have this pack here of contending teams that want to be making into these playoffs here, that have the skill to make these type of plays and maneuvers here, talking about squads like the Mad Lions, XL, things like that, adding into the teams that we've just talked about, showing some of those signs of life early on. This is going to be that group here that you're going to want to be following in as they contend and compete for these playoff spots.
And I'm just going to say again, the AD carry position this year in Europe is the most stacked it's ever been. Patrick and Karzy both had great weekends. Hans Sama on Rogue helped lead them to 2-0. It wasn't as convincing as you would have expected the matchups to be. Misfits and Excel, not exactly a powerhouse matchup weekend for Rogue, but they did go 2-0 as most people were expecting. But because they didn't dominate, they are at the bottom of that top 3, but still very much in that top 3. And boy, the Rogue versus TSM memes in 2020.
Oh, no,
long gone. These are legit contenders in Europe right now.
Oh, yikes, that is a long way away. That one's a pretty good meme, but
less than a year how that storyline has completely shifted.
And hey, when you're looking at Rogue and you're thinking about, yes, getting the job done against maybe the lesser competition of the LEC, all you can ask for them to do is eat the veggies that are on your plate. And boy, they ate everything.
Broccoli, Brussels sprouts.
Even the side salad, they got that one down there. So taking care of all those veggies, Rogue, thumbs up. Good week number 1.
And they'll have a chance to prove themselves even more next week because they match up against Origen, a couple of undefeated teams. G2 is not number 1, Mark. I know it might be a little bit crazy, but we're not talking about 2019. We're just looking at 2020. And in the very first week of action in the LEC, the best-looking team, without a doubt, was Origen. G2 had their struggles in the early game. Sure, they bounced back to have relatively convincing wins in that post-15-minute mark in both of their matchups, but Origen, almost no doubt in either of their wins, and they had a tougher schedule than G2 going up against Fnatic and Schalke.
Oh, yeah. Origen is no doubt my number 1 team here for the LEC in week number 1, but I will say, sitting there at number 2 and number 3 with G2 and Rogue, kind of looking like Talon and Zed, kind of just waiting in the wings here to assassinate number 1 Origen, but hey, that is where they are to end off week number 1 here with that 2-0 performance. And again, proving that the decisions and the offseason roster moves that this squad has made and the time that they spent working together to build that chemistry, it's all come to fruition right away, right out of the gates here. Origen, strong start.
And there are specific moments, plays that you can highlight for pretty much every single member on Origen. Alfari was an absolute rock. He was turning around 1v2s and destroying some of his matchups. Upset was popping off in team fights. Nuke Duck is flashing under turrets to get kills. The roams out of Destiny. Pretty much everything was firing on all cylinders for them.
It was everything that you wanted to be seeing when you're watching professional League of Legends, man. Every single role fulfilling what they should be doing here, playing to their champions and things like that. This was a clean week here from the Origen squad. Man, gotta make Martin DeFisciolin feel pretty damn good.
And for Destiny, a guy coming to a major region for the first time, you heard in some of the mic checks and communications for Origen, he is not shying away from being very vocal on a team that has a whole lot of veterans around it.
And you love to see that. That's exactly the type of attitude that you need to have. You can't come in thinking, oh man, I'm just this guy coming in from the minor region. Bruh, you're brought in here for the reason. You're brought in here for the skills that you have shown to this point. Absolutely taking control, and it's Origen taking control of the power rankings for week number 1.
G2 is still probably the scariest team in Europe because you know it is a monster lying in wait. But for now, it is Origen on that top spot after week 1.